everybody. Welcome to Member Summit. My name is Elissa. I am a financial crimes investigator here at BECU. I have been with BECU for about 5 years. This is my first time doing a Member Summit, so I am super stoked to be here with all of you. All right, let's go ahead and get right into it. So on the agenda tonight, we have trending scams, what happens now, don't be a victim, and how to report fraud. We do have a little quiz for you guys, so go ahead. It's up on the screen now. Go ahead and start answering what you believe the answer to be. The quiz question is, which age group saw the biggest increase in reported romance scams in 2020? We will be coming back to this. I'll leave it here for just a second. Everyone can take a ponder at the age range. And like I said, we will be coming back to it. So go ahead and start answering, and we will chat. All right, so trending scams. The first trending scam that we have that unfortunately is a super big and evil one is account takeover fraud. Account takeover fraud is when someone attempts kind of a scare tactic of there being like a fraudulent transaction on your account or a problem with your account, and they reach out to you in an attempt to verify if this transaction is legit. And it's not. It was a made-up transaction to begin with. So of course, your answer is going to be no. They will then ask you for your personal information in an attempt to verify you and get more info from you, and pretend that they're going to send out like a brand new debit card or do some assistance on your account to protect you further. But unfortunately, they use that information for fraudulent purposes and will then pose as you, the member. So super important with account takeover fraud that you remember, if you do get a call or text that seems suspicious or out of the ordinary, it's a number that you don't recognize, you know that BECU doesn't normally call or text you to ask you these things in this manner, hang up or don't reply. We always encourage you, even if it was BECU, to hang up the phone and say, hey, I'm gonna call you back. I'm gonna verify the phone number. I'm gonna call the number directly on the back of my debit card and make sure that I'm really talking to someone at BECU. We appreciate you that more than you know. I've had several members do that, and I would prefer it. I love it. So definitely hang up or don't respond if it seems unusual. Give a call to us. Never share your online banking information. That's another really big one. Online banking information, your username and password, that's something that you create. That's something very personal to you. That is a random username and password that you have generated so that nobody needs to know it. I would never ask you for it. Our contact center rep should never ask you for it. The only time that we would assist you with your username and password is if you call into BECU asking for help. So if anyone asks you for that information, definitely say no. Never share security codes. This is another really big one. A lot of times with online banking, there is like an authentication code. It's a one-time passcode that's sent to your phone for added security for you. There's no reason that anyone ever needs this information from you. Again, something I would never need from you. It's not something that someone trying to help you with the transaction would ever need from you. It is your personal authentication code to verify yourself through online banking. If you do happen to get a call or a text or a suspicious email, definitely call and report it to BECU as soon as possible. We do keep track of that information, and we have ways of reporting it so that we can, attempt to block phone numbers attempting to call in, find string texts that are attempting to get information out of you. We want to be as helpful as possible with that. So if you ever get an email attempt or a call or a text, call us. We're happy to chat with you about it, verify the information, and try to assist you the best that we can. Next up, we have recruiting scams. Recruiting scams are so big. This can happen in so many different places. It can happen in a high school, on a football field, at a bus stop, at the mall. Unfortunately, it can happen online. So much social media, as we all know. It can happen anywhere. Anyone can be a victim of it. I will say that it is more often that teenagers are a victim. So I would love everyone to go back and talk to your kids and your teenagers and make sure that they are aware not to provide information going forward. But a recruiting scam is when someone will come out with an amazing offer for you or an elaborate story and basically say that they have this nice big check and they'll give you like $500 out of this $1,000 check. They just need the other half of it right away. So they'll either ask you to deposit the check and give them the money, or they will take your debit card, ask for your debit card to deposit the funds themselves and take out the money. Unfortunately, because this is on your account, once those funds are deposited, it's your name that's on them. It's in your account, it's your card and PIN number, and it's your information being used. So when that deposit goes in and the funds are gone and you've given those funds away, if that check returns on your account, you become responsible for that negative balance because you participated. So it's super important to be cautious of, help. I know you always want to help people. Everyone loves to help people, of course, but it's important to be cautious of that, especially when it's someone random or the story just seems too good to be true. We love to say if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Trust your gut. Just trust it. I promise it will not steer you wrong. This is an example of a social media scam, recruitment scam. This, I do believe, was an employee or is an employee with BECU that had this attempt happen to them. Now, I will start this off by saying I highly don't recommend engaging in conversation with these people. I think he wanted to poke a little bit of fun, and now we have a great example for you, so it all works out in the end. But don't participate in these. So first, he starts off by saying, "Hey, how are you doing today? My name is Eddie. I see that you liked BECU's profile page. Do you bank with them?" And Eddie's like, "Yeah, like, what's up? I love BECU." And then he goes, "Okay, I'm so sorry. I know this is weird because we don't know each other or anything. I just found you on social media randomly. But I'm hoping you can do me a favor. And if you can, I'll give you some money from this check." So then he goes on to say that he's currently stuck in Saudi Arabia and he needs some help getting the money right away. I know it's a little small, but down there at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and switch to the next slide. He then says, he's stuck and he needs this help. He has this $10,000 check. He is wanting to make the deposit and have you send back $9,000. But you get to keep 1,000 of it just for helping out because you're such a great person. Which is like, score, yay, 1,000 free dollars. But what happens when the $10,000 check isn't good? What if it isn't good? Well, unfortunately, you get stuck with the negative balance from that. What happens is, like I said, they will deposit the check for $10,000. You will then send the funds as a courtesy to them. And once that check returns, because it is in your account, it was done with your username and password, and your account information, you become responsible for the deposit. So super important to be mindful and not provide, username and password, card and PIN number, any personal information to someone that you're talking to online. Be cautious of anyone that you're helping with any deposits. We would obviously strongly suggest against it. But again, if you want to call and talk with BECU and say, "This is the situation that I'm in. Can you tell me what this sounds like to you?" We have so many amazing trained people to assist you with that conversation and walk you through what that's probably going to look like. And it's stories that we hear all the time. So, don't be ashamed of it either. Dating and sweetheart scams. Oh, these ones are heartbreakers, you guys, for obvious reasons, of course. Dating and sweetheart scams have become so popular, unfortunately, with dating apps on a rise and so many people looking for love and just wanting to find their soulmate. It's all totally understandable, but unfortunately, a lot of fraud can take place on dating apps and romantic relationships formed online. So what happens is a lot of times people will reach out and they will start off very, lovey-dovey. They want to build a rapport with you, make you feel comfortable, and make you feel like you have really won their heart. And these are normally fake profiles designed to be, very attractive and very loving, with a lot of money typically. And there's so many different variations of tactics they'll use. There can be one example is an inheritance scam. So a lot of times people will say, oh, my love, I have this money. I just need your help to send $10,000 and then we will have $300,000 and I'll move to you and I'll be on the next flight. We just have to buy this inheritance. Well, unfortunately, you shouldn't have to pay for an inheritance to get it, first of all. And a lot most of the time that's not true. There's no inheritance waiting. And these people have built such a rapport with you that they have made you believe that the love and the bond is so strong that they will come to you as soon as they have these funds. Unfortunately, with dating, sweetheart scams, romance scams, however you know them to be named, there's never enough money that can be sent. In my experience, I have seen it start at 10,000 and the account gets drained from there. There's never enough money. There's an unlimited amount of excuses as to why they need the funds. And because they've built that trust and love with you and they have made it seem like they're going to be coming to you to live with you and be with you, then you ultimately send the funds. So it's super important to be cautious of someone who really quickly wants to gain your trust and love on a dating site, or someone that's asking for money very early on into the relationship, or making it seem like they're going to, get married to you very early on, or come and live with you early on. Those are all things that should be, strong red flags for you. Okay. All right, so now we have the quiz answer, and the quiz answer is 20 to 29 years old. I know that probably a lot of you originally thought that this was going to be a higher age range, just because of vulnerable adults in some cases, but 20 to 29 is actually very accurate in this day and age, with dating apps being on such a rise, and unfortunately like sugar daddy, sugar mama type scams. These things are very common for the 20-year-old to 29-year-old age range. So definitely, if you have a 20 to 29-year-old, talk to them to be cautious. I mean, everyone wants to have fun and meet someone, but there's ways to do it without them stealing your money. All right, so employment scams. These ones, unfortunately, are also super popular with COVID-19 on such a rise. A lot of people unfortunately lost work and were looking for jobs and going to places like LinkedIn and Indeed and the different job sites that you can go to. And while there are plenty of legitimate employers that are looking for, honest, reliable people on these sites, unfortunately, there are also fraudulent postings. So there's ranges of fraudulent postings or people reaching out to you fraudulently and just creating a job that seems way too good to be true. They're ready to hire you on the spot. They're ready to give you a bunch of money to, move to some place or do some car advertisements really, really quick, or to purchase equipment on your own through Zelle or Venmo. Any employer that offers you a job and requires you to deposit a check immediately, huge red flag, Huge, huge red flag. Any employer who is giving you a check to purchase equipment for a job that you've been hired to do is a huge red flag, because an employer should have their own account to be able to fund these type of things. You shouldn't have to go and deposit a check, send it to an unknown name via Venmo or Cash App or Zelle to purchase equipment, and then begin working for this employer. Unfortunately, too, the first check, it doesn't ever seem to stop there. It seems like they keep asking you to deposit checks. So legitimate employers won't ask for money either when they hire someone. A lot of times when these checks are deposited, it's not only that you would purchase equipment for the job that you're going to be doing, but they'll ask you to send the funds back. So that's something to definitely be cautious of going forward. When you are applying for jobs online, make sure that you're not interviewing over text. You probably think that that's crazy that I just said that, but that happened, unfortunately. So something to definitely be cautious of. Make sure that you are doing, safe in-person interviews or Zoom interviews, and verifying the job application that you've filled out and verifying the company, looking into their reviews and double checking who their HR is. There's definitely things that you can do to be proactive in protecting yourself against employment scams. Loan scams, another bummer. Companies that pose as a legitimate lender and contacts you with a can't miss loan offer. So we all know, as adults, watching loan rates go up and down is a crazy battle. You want to get in there when the rate is low. You want to get in and get as much as you can for that low rate. I've been there. I know it. But please be cautious when you see these, random new loan sites pop up online that are asking you to fill out all of your personal identification information, such as social security number, account number, so that they can deposit the funds right away, saying that they have, really good can't miss offers. Make sure that you're looking into the company that you're applying with the loan for. That way, you make sure that you're getting the best rate from a legitimate company and not going to be having fraudulent deposits come in. So unfortunately, a lot of times with these, smaller can't miss loan offers, they will request all of your personal information and then they will deposit fraudulent funds into the account. Unfortunately, it could be under a different name. It could be for a completely different amount than you requested. They could ask for some of the funds back. And unfortunately, once those funds are deposited, again, it is in your account and it is your name on it. So something to be very cautious of. And this is also a huge identity theft concern when you're providing your personal information, such as social, address, date of birth, very personal information to you. All right, ATM skimming. Oh man, ATM skimming is unfortunately, when a device is placed on, more often than not, gas pumps or ATMs. It is a device used to basically steal the card information that you have. So your card number, your PIN number, and attempt to utilize it to withdraw funds at various ATMs. So, this is one of the main reasons we suggest to use your card as credit at a gas pump. I would always suggest that. If for some reason it's like, no, don't run credit, do it out of PIN. I know nobody wants to do this, but go into the clerk and have them run it as credit and put it on the gas pump. It's always good to take a look at the ATM or gas pump that you're using and look for key things. I'm not going to lie. You see the little green card reader there? I jiggle it every time, just in case. Any ATM, I do it. It's always better to be safe than sorry. At gas station pumps, there is a piece of tape near the card readers. And that piece of tape is supposed to basically show that this ATM has been looked at. There's no concerns. It should have a date on it. If you ever see that it's been tampered with, I would highly suggest you don't use that gas pump and you notify the pump attendant immediately to avoid a potential mishap. All right, family emergency and grandparent scams. These ones are super sad as well. So these scams are used as scare tactics. Basically what they do is the fraudsters will call you and they will have a very alarming story to make you kind of jump up and go, oh my gosh, I have to fix this right away, or I'm going to go to jail, or my grandson is going to be hurt in jail, or he's not going to make it home from college. Different variations of that, first one being you owe the IRS money. So people, fraudsters will contact normally elderly people as an easier target attempt to scare them into thinking that they owe the IRS a lot of money. They'll say, you owe the IRS $20,000, and if you don't pay right now, we will have a police officer at your doorstep tomorrow morning by 9 a.m. and you will go to jail. Well, that's not true. The IRS isn't going to call you. They don't want to call you, but unfortunately, because in that moment, it's very scary and alarming thinking that you owe, $20,000 to the IRS, your automatic reaction is to go, oh my gosh, I need to pay this. And so they'll pay it right away. Another one is your grandson is in jail, send money right away. Granddaughter, whoever, any family member, right? They will say that a family member is in jail and they need $10,000 of bail money right now, or he's going to be in for 10 years or something. So again, they'll send the funds. And I've seen this happen where they send the funds through a wire. They request gift cards, which I also know is surprising, but it's crazy how often gift cards are requested as a form of payment. They will request, Zelle transfers, any way that they can get the funds in the mass amount that they would like them as quick as possible, they will request it. So definitely be on guard. Talk to your grandparents, talk to your family members, talk to your cousins, everyone. Talk to them about scams and say things like, in the moment, let's try to stop and think. Can we contact a family member to verify this person is in jail? How can we verify with the police department and verify their actual phone number that this person is in jail and they need my help? Try to verify phone numbers and, confirm the legitimacy before attempting to send funds. So what happens now? If you are a victim, first things first, don't be ashamed. Never be ashamed of this. I can't tell you how many people I have talked to about scams, and it is the one thing I drive home every single time. This happens to everyone. It can happen to anyone. And you are not a bad person for having this happen. There's nothing wrong with you for having it happen. It happens. But how can we help you avoid it in the future, right? So some things to know. Scammers use these things to their advantage. They're going to use scare tactics. They're going to say anything that could possibly make you believe that you need to send money. Scammers are becoming more sophisticated, as well as scams in general. They have adapted with the times and technology and use that to their advantage for the different generations, as well as just the different ways that you can utilize it. So it's something to be aware of and have conversations about going forward. Some additional things to remember are you could be responsible for paying back those funds. Ultimately, like I said, you are a victim. You are a victim of a scam. However, because you participate in the activity and you provide certain information, or you send funds on this person's behalf, you are participating. And so you can be responsible for those funds. Another thing is that your credit could be impacted. Your credit could be impacted because if your account stays negative for too long, unfortunately, that does reflect on you as it is your account. So if it were to go in a charge off or a collections, that information does continue on your person record. So very, very good idea to be mindful of doing business for other people. You will be reported through check systems, which will impact opening future accounts. Check systems is a tool that that financial institutions use. To basically speak with each other and say, this person opened accounts, and within this first amount of days, fraud occurred, and this is the type of fraud. And so unfortunately, when you do go to other financial institutions and try to apply for accounts later on, you could be declined because they know there's a history there. It is possible. So, that's another sign to never open accounts for anyone. Make sure that you are, verifying the business that you're doing on your accounts and keeping your information secure as possible. 5 things to remember. So never let anyone borrow your debit card. Never give out your PIN number over the phone, in person, or anywhere online. I know that one seems like, oh, well, what if I give it to my kid? Don't do it. I can tell you, I've seen so many accounts where, unfortunately, friends and family members have taken advantage of having that information and being able to utilize the card and PIN. So keep that information safe to yourself. If you would like to loan someone money, that's amazing, and that's so nice of you, but pulling out $60 yourself is different than someone being able to pull out $600. So something to be cautious of. Never give out your online banking information. Never cash or deposit a check for anyone else, and never open accounts for anyone except yourself. All right, check your credit report. So annualcreditreport.com. I know it says annualcreditreport.com, but I'm not sure if you guys are aware, during the times of COVID-19, they are allowing weekly credit report checks. So definitely go to annualcreditreport.com and take a look at your credit report. This is something that people suggest to do annually anyway, just as a precaution, and making sure that you are staying up on your personal credit report and verifying the accounts that you have open. Now you can do it weekly. All right, how to report fraud. If you have been scammed, notify BECU immediately. We are here to protect you guys. That is my job as a financial crimes investigator. I am never here to shame or attack you for being scammed. I'm here to protect you and do what I can to help you. So call us and notify us immediately. We can go ahead and lock your accounts down. We can talk about the ways to further protect your accounts, make sure your online banking username and password get changed, get you a brand new debit card. We can talk about getting a code word added, which if you don't already have one, I would highly suggest you get one. A code word is basically a password for any time that you call or come into BECU that we offer. You just have to sign to add it. You can fax or mail in the form, or you can come in and get it added right away. Again, it's a password that we would only ask you for when you call or text or call or come into BECU. Sorry. So I would highly suggest that. Notify us immediately so we can help you take the appropriate action and guide you to the right places. File a police report. That's always something I would suggest. It doesn't matter if you know only the person's first name and their Twitter username, or if they're a family member. We would always suggest that you file a police report to protect yourself further. This is a statement just showing that you took the initiative to say, hey, this happened, but this is what I'm doing to take precaution for it. File a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. This is a website we would recommend at any time someone gets scammed. And then if you suspect the scammer has your Social Security number, we would always suggest that you contact the Social Security Administration fraud hotline. That way they can protect you and talk about the different ways that they can protect your Social Security number going forward. Here are some different resources. We've got BECU, BECU.org, of course, not BECU.com, not BECU.gov, BECU.org. I know that you're probably like, why are you saying that? But a lot of times with like phishing and fraudulent emails, there's little things that you can look at to kind of find how they're fraudulent. The main one being, there is a text going around saying BECU.com. Well, we're not .com, we're BECU.org. So that's an automatic red flag. If you ever happen to get that text, definitely be cautious of that. Next thing is the Better Business Bureau, www.bbb.org. Then we have the Federal Trade Commission again, and then Internet Crime Complaint Center, www.ic3.gov. This is where you can file reports for like online social media scams. All right, and now I believe it is time for questions. So I think I'm going to be inviting Miss Tori Twine on with us to ask me some questions.
Great, thank you, Elissa. So we do have some questions in. The first one is from Cassandra, who asked, how can I best help my parents not fall victim to an online scam?
Oh, good question. Well, the very first thing is talking to them about it, right? Making sure there's an open line of communication, that they feel comfortable talking to you about some of the people that they're talking to online and what websites they're going to. But I would say, having the conversation is the main thing. Driving home that there are a lot of people that will use you for, funds and stuff on social media. So protecting yourself, you're going to want to avoid, providing personal information, account numbers and routing numbers, username and password. And if there is a larger concern, always talk about maybe sharing accounts to help protect them and monitor.
Yeah, thank you. Those are some great tips. We have another question from James, who asked, what should I do if my identity gets stolen?
Good question. So if your identity does get stolen, call BECU immediately so that you can notify us and we can take the steps to help protect your accounts. First thing we're going to do, of course, is lock the accounts and ask you to come in with photo ID. That way we can verify you properly and make sure that we're talking to the real you. Then we'll ask you to fill out an identity theft affidavit, which we will use to confirm the ID theft and assist you further with the accounts. And then we do have an identity theft checklist on our website, which goes over the different things that you can do, like putting a freeze on your credit report, making a police report, calling different financial institutions and talking to them about the other ways that they have to assist with protecting your accounts.
Thank you. All right, so we have another question from Victoria, who asked, is it okay or is it safe to have my PIN number written down?
Oh my gosh, I love that you asked this. No, please don't do it. We would strongly advise against this. Here's the beauty about a PIN number. It's a personal identification number that you get to pick yourself. So it doesn't have to be some random one that you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to remember this? It could be something that is normal to well, I wouldn't say I want it to be normal to your everyday life, but it could be something that's a little bit simpler for you to remember. So definitely don't have it written down, kept in your wallet, in your car. If this information is written down and it's easy for someone to access, again, that is a vulnerability with your account at that point, and it could make you responsible for any fraud that occurs.
Yeah, thank you. Those are some great tips. So we have another question from Ethan, who asked, who should be allowed to use your debit card?
You and only you. Your debit card has your name and your name only on it. It is assigned to you. And again, with that the PIN number, that is something that you choose. And it's personal to you. So we strongly advise against letting anyone utilize your card and PIN number. That information is something that should stay with you. Now, if this is someone that you feel safe having on your accounts, then have a chat with them or come into your financial institution to discuss adding them to the account so they can have their own card and be responsible for their own financial use. But definitely don't let anyone use your card. Keep that to yourself.
Yeah, I think that's very important. So we have a question from Brenda, who asked, let's see, where is it? If BECU calls me, what will they ask?
Oh, that's a really good question. So we should not be asking you, verification information unless you were to specifically request a call back through the contact center. If you are getting a call, like let's say from me in financial crimes, I should really only be verifying, the phone number and stuff that I'm calling prior and verifying who you are. We should not be asking for any personal identification information. We might ask you a trick question, catch you off guard. But unless you are requesting a call back from BECU yourself, we should not be asking you personal identification information.
Great, thank you. So we have a question from Lewis who asked, when I get a one-time passcode, should that be protected like a PIN, or can I give it by phone?
Yes, definitely protect it like a PIN. Treat it just how I said. Don't write your PIN number down. Don't give it to anyone. That information should stay to you and to you only. That code is to make sure that it's actually you logging in online and not someone else attempting to be you. So definitely keep it to yourself.
Okay, we have another question from Kate who asked, is it okay if I keep my social security card on me?
No, we would advise against that. Lock it up and keep it in a safe, tucked away where only you have the key or the passcode to get it. Your social security number is so important. It's your life number. Think about it that way. I used to say with username and passwords when I worked in the contact center, you shouldn't give your username and password. You want to treat it like your license. You can't just hand anybody your license and let them pretend to be you. You want to think about your social security card the same way. If you think about it, if you have it in your car or you don't have it properly stored away in a lockbox at home and something gets broken into, that information is easily accessible and able to be used to apply for loans, apply for accounts, utilize personal information to continue on any fraudulent path that they can find. So definitely don't keep it on your person. Keep it locked away and safe from fraudsters.
Thank you. We have a question from Alan who said, is it okay to cash a check for someone else?
No, we would strongly advise against this. Just like I was talking about, these are recruitment scams, or even if you just think that you're doing a really nice thing for a friend. I know we all want to be super sweet, loving friends, good people, but you don't know what is happening with that check. You don't know if it's a personal check that someone really did actually write, or if it was found and provided as a scam. You don't know if the funds on the other end are good for that check. So we would strongly advise against you making any deposits for anyone else on their behalf, and suggest that they open their own accounts or find their own way to deposit the check by not using yours.
Okay, thank you. We have time for one more question. So our last question is from Lisa, who asked, how will I know if if I'm victim of an employment scam? Or what are some things to look for?
That's a good question. So some red flags of that are going to be, partly the interview process, making sure that you're meeting with, someone that truly does work for the company. Some ways that you can do that, or you can, verify that there's a person that works in HR actually facilitating these interviews. But I would say the other red flags are if you do get to a point where you have already quote unquote got the job and you've accepted payment, but then all of a sudden they start asking you to send some of the money back because they sent you too much. They're asking you to send the funds back via, Zelle or Cash App or anything like that. That's a huge red flag. Anytime that you have to buy equipment with these funds on your own, that's a huge red flag as well. That the company should be able to buy those things for you and send them to you. So those are some of the main red flags I would look for.
Thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for your questions. We do have another panel coming up that I will be in as well. I will be joined by some other panel leaders. So stick around, stay tuned. I will see you in the next panel.
I'm a big fan of trying to get outdoors as much as possible. My fiance and I love to go mountain climbing and camping and hiking all over the Pacific Northwest. Out to the Olympics, down to Mount St. Helens. We're actually going to be getting married on top of Mount Adams later on this year.
I run a micro soccer league for 4 to 9-year-olds. We have about 200 kids signed up as part of our program, split into 27 teams, and just seeing all those kids out there on Saturday mornings playing soccer games just really brings a smile to my face.
Started rock climbing, snowboarding. Next will be skiing. Just really being outdoors and spending time with the family and my granddaughter, my pride and joy.
Listen to a lot of audiobooks. My wife and I just started gardening in the last year when we moved into our new apartment. So we have a lot of houseplants and a lot of plants on our porch now. So we've quite got the green thumb.
My favorite thing to do when I'm not at work is take my mom to shopping and also able to spend time with my sister.
I have 2 daughters, so it's great to go to the park with my wife and 2 daughters or to the zoo. Spending time with friends as our vaccinations get in line. I love going to Mariners games. I've been lucky to go to 4 games this year so far, which is awesome.
When I'm not working, I like to spend my time with my family. I like to volunteer to our church at least, to at least give back to the community, and then at the same time, I also like caring for people, caring for myself, so I go to spa.
Yeah, so outside of work, I enjoy spending time with my wife and daughters. We live in Gig Harbor, so we like to get down to the harbor quite a bit, do a little kayaking, canoeing, paddleboarding. We've even gotten to the point that we have 2 dogs. One of our dogs enjoys paddleboarding. We got a little life vest for the dog.
So spending time with the family outside of work, which BECU enables me to do, it gives me a work-life balance. So I'm able to work and also spend time with my family.